Welcome back, designers. In today's super easy tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use a couple of layer styles to create a shiny chrome text effect. So without further ado, let's jump into Photoshop and get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is create a new Photoshop document. The size I'm using is 3840 by 2160 pixels, and then above the background layer we just want to create a new solid fill colour, and we'll just leave that at the colour black, and then we just want to select the background layer and then just hit the delete icon within the layers window. Next I'm going to add a background texture. If you want to use the same background texture that I'm using, just head over to Shutterstock or check the link in the description below. And then we're just going to add the texture to the background, and then we're just going to label our layers. Background, texture, background, colour. And then I'm going to select both layers, hit the new group icon, and then just label this group BG for background. Create another new group above the background group, and we'll just rename this to text. Select T on the keyboard or the type tool, and then type out your first word. Press T on the keyboard again and then type out your second word. And then we want to select both layers. Press Ctrl A on the keyboard for select all, and then go to the alignment options at the top, and then we want to vertically and horizontally center both text layers. Press Ctrl D to deselect the selection, and then press Ctrl T for the free transform tool, and then we just want to scale both text elements to make them a little bit bigger. Right click the first word and go to convert to smart object, and then repeat that for the second one. And then we just want to arrange both words on top of each other. Select the group layer, Ctrl A on the keyboard again to select all, and then we just want to horizontally and vertically center the group within the artboard. Next we can start adding some of the layer styles to our text. So within the text group, just double click on the first word, and the first layer style we want to add is a bevel and emboss. Leave the style as inner bevel. The technique we can leave as smooth. Change the depth to around 150%, size to 10 pixels, and then we want to smooth that by about 1 pixel. Angle and altitude we can leave as 1930, but then the important one that we need to change is the gloss contour. So if you select the actual graph, yours should look something like this, providing you haven't used any layer styles previously. But what you want to do is you want to add further points and change it to something which looks like this. Now I've saved this preset already, and if you are interested in grabbing this preset, the PSD file with the preset is available on Gumroad. Alternatively, you can pause the video and just replicate what contours and points I've added. Once you've added the contour, press OK. The highlight mode we want to change to colour dodge, leaving the colour as white. Change the opacity down to 75%. And then the shadow mode we want to change to colour burn, and then change the colour to black, and we'll leave the opacity at 100%. Next we want to put a tick in contour within the bevel and emboss style. Select the contour thumbnail and then adjust the line so it has a small slope to it. Again, feel free to pause the video and just replicate those points. Press OK, and then we want to add a stroke. For the size of the stroke, choose 5 pixels. Position can stay outside. Blend mode we want to change to normal, and then the opacity should be around 50%. And then we can leave the colour as the colour black. Next we want to add a inner shadow. Leave the blend mode as multiply, but change the colour to black. Opacity should be 100%, and you can leave the angle at 90. We just want to have the distance 5, choke 0, size 8, and then the rest can stay as it is. And then the next one we want to add is a inner glow. Leave the blend mode as normal and the opacity at around 80%. Noise we can leave at 0, and then we want to change the colour to a white. Technique we can leave as softer and the source as edge. You just want to make sure the choke is set to 0, and the size is around 20 pixels. And then the quality, we can leave the contour, range and jitter as it is. And then the next one we want to add is satin. Again, we can leave the blend mode as multiply using the colour black. Change the opacity down to 60% and use an angle of 19 degrees. Have the distance set to 20 and the size set to 40. And then if you select the contour thumbnail, and then from the preset, if you've got it, select the Gaussian preset, which will create just a nice little S-type shape. Again, if you haven't got this preset, what you can do is just pause the video and just add those anchor points in. Next, we just want to add a gradient overlay. For the gradient overlay, we just want to use a simple black and white. Blend mode set to normal with the opacity at 65%. Leave the style as linear with an angle of 90 degrees, and the scale we can leave at 100%. Next, add an outer glow. Blend mode set to normal with opacity at 20%. Noise we can leave at 0, and we want to make sure that the colour is black. Under elements, change the spread down to 0 with a size of around 54 pixels. Under the quality section, leave the contour as the slope and then change the range and jitter to 50 and 0. And then finally we want to add a drop shadow. The drop shadow, we want to change the blend mode to normal and have the colour as black. Leave the opacity at 100% and change the angle to 90 degrees. Distance we want around 9 pixels, 0 spread and the size around 21. And then we can leave the contour and noise as is. Once you've done all those layer styles, press OK. And then right click the layer with the layer styles applied and go to copy layer style. Right click the second text layer and go to paste layer style. And then as you can see, we've got a nice shiny chrome looking bit of text. And then obviously feel free to change some of the values, the colours, to try and achieve different effects. Also, at any time, if you did want to change the text, you double click the smart object and just change one of the words or letters. Save the smart object. That will obviously update with all the effects still applied. So we have our Chrome text. Create a new layer above one of the text layers and just fill that with the paint bucket tool, the colour black, and then go to filter, noise, add noise, maximise the amount up to 400%, change the distribution to Gaussian and obviously put a check in monochromatic, and then press OK. And then label that layer noise, hold down the Alt key and drag duplicate of that layer above the second text group, and then right click and go to create clipping mask. Do that for both layers, and then what we can do is select both layers and just change the opacity to around 10 or 12% or whatever looks good. And what that does is it just adds a bit of texture to the Chrome text. And then finally, what we can do is, if you collapse the text group, right click and go to duplicate group, and then just label this new group as plastic wrap. Press OK and then right click and go to merge group, and then go to filter, select filter gallery. Then from within the filter gallery, select the under artistic group, select plastic wrap. Change the highlight strength to around 10, detail to 1 and smoothness to 15, and then press OK. And what that does is it just adds a nice shine to the text group. And then if we want to adjust the layer opacity a little bit, change that down to around 80%. And what you can do, because we're working with smart objects, if you did want to change the text at this stage, what you'd have to do is delete the plastic wrap, change the text within the smart object, and then just reapply this plastic wrap step to the new group. And then finally come down to the bottom of the layers palette and add a gradient map. With the gradient map, you want to change the black colour to a nice bluish colour, something like 0F1619. Press OK and then right click that gradient map layer and go to create clipping mask. And what that'll do is it would just give the text a nice blue tinge colour. That's it for this week, folks. If you enjoyed the tutorial, don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up, and if you want to stick around for more content, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I'll see you all in the next one.